Hello, everybody, and welcome to this webinar about hydraulic training system, which is a bridge from school to industry. This webinar is provided by Training System Australia and IT System, represented by David and Peter Birnbaum, Anto Galic, and myself. So my name is Rémi Jarbeau. I'm a French export sales engineer, graduated with a master degree in engineering and an MBA in international business development. And I recently follow hydraulic courses to get a certificate in this area. So ID System is a specialist in conception and manufacturing of hydraulic system and expert in fluid cleaning and conditioning. And from this expertise, we design and manufacture hydraulic training equipment for vocational training centers, business college, TAFE or TO, or their equivalent in France, and universities of technology. So we come from the industry and mobile machinery, and we noticed the difficulty from companies to hire well-trained technicians in hydraulic. From this point, we design equipment, bridging classroom and workshop. To give you some numbers, we already equipped more than 100 training facilities in France, and each year there are around 4,000 trainees trained with our equipment for 2,000 new pros on the market. So I'll give you some references that we got here in France. We work with the Ministry of Education and its professional high school. Some training center in different fields, the MFR for the agriculture machinery, Travaux Publics Fédération Nationale for the earth moving machine, and UEMM for the industry. We also work with University of Technology and engineering schools, and with excellent centers, especially for naval and marine industry and aeronautics. So how we work with you? First of all, we discover your pedagogy and your training objectives, and from it, we provide you the adapted bench. And then we customize it with you. And finally, we work on the proposal together to fit your budget. So now let's have an overview on our didactic range. First branch is the open circuit in on-off and proportional hydraulics with our SHCO and BHI4. The closed circuits with the hydrostatic transmission bench BHT3 and its operative parts, hydrostatic direction SHDH. We also provide operative systems on standard, but we are also able to do it on demand, and systems for special application, marine and aeronautic. Let's talk about the SHCO V2, which is designed as an industrial system. Our goal is to put the student in a professional situation. So the SHCO is innovative and present as an industrial installation. We only use a component from major brands found everywhere in industry, and we focus on the reflection on the hydraulic diagram, the assembly and disassembly of components, and identification of the hydraulic kinematic chain. The SHCO is also a multi-technology. You will find on it on-off hydraulic, proportional hydraulic, and mobile hydraulic. When I talk about mobile hydraulic, I talk about the hydraulic that you find on mobile machinery. So of course you can approach hydraulic with our bench, but also electricity and regulation. Finally, hydraulics and electricity are risky areas. So safety is important, and our bench is equipped with anti-jet protection and anti-wipe carabiners. There is a leaded pressure relief valve, so your student couldn't set the pressure higher than the limit of this pressure relief valve. And we also set two emergency stops, one for the low level of the tank and one for the high temperature of the oil. So the SHCO allow you to learn different type of hydraulics using professional components in complete safety. We also propose this bench in his 4.0 version. It starts from the fact that in the industry 4.0, industrial systems are now connected systems. Our bench 4.0 allow to approach computer-aided maintenance monitoring and IoT. The bench is numeric, so you can command and control the hydraulic function with a touchscreen or remotely with a smartphone or a tablet. You can also acquire some data like flow, pressure, temperature, speed, and oil level that you can import and export from or to your computer to simply analyze the behavior of your machine. The resources are on easy access through the touchscreen, and you will find instruction manual, practical work, and demonstration with videos, for example, the disassembly and reassembly of components. There are also two axes of evolution on this bench. The first one is to control and command the bench with an OPC link between the bench and a conception software called Automation Studio. And the second axis is the instrumentation of the bench with sensor connected with ionic communication standards. So I will show you some videos of demonstration of our bench. The first one is about the touchscreen interface presentation. So you will find on it all the technical documentation, which will, of course, be available on paper and on USB key. Then you find also videos. I will now show you a video about the operation on the bench. So first you have to connect all the hydraulic components. Then you have the electrical part for the electro valve. Now Damien is setting the pressure gauge, the pressure sensors. Here, Damien is setting the maximum displacement of the pump.
Remy, can you tell us what's happening?
So in this last video, Damien, our technician, connected the pump to the distribution block setup 3, which is made of mainly of electro valve, pressure relay valves, and flow limiters. And then he connected this block to the actuators. This is for the hydraulic part. And then he connected electrically all the electro valves and the pressure sensors to the electrical part of the bench and to the PLC. And then from the touch screen, Damien was able to control the electro valve and so actuate the hydraulic motor and the cylinder. So this is how you can control the bench with industrial components. Now I will show you how to control it with a mobile machinery oriented distributor, which is a PVG32 from Danfoss. And on this video you will also see how to create a load on the cylinders, and how to analyze this operation using the touchscreen and the data acquisition. So first step is the connection of the manipulator to the PVG32. So electrical connection, hydraulic connection, our bench is also equipped with a load sensing technology, which allow to adapt the flow of the pump in function of the load on the actuators. And there, Damien is setting the load sensing. There, Damien is setting the pressure relay valve, which is inside the PVJ32. There is one for each element. When I talk about elements, it's because there are two elements, one there and the other one there. Each element will control one actuator.
Remy, you'll need to keep talking to these because if there's audio, we're not getting them. So,
sorry.
I was just going to say you can continue to talk to the videos because if there's audio with them, it's not coming through. So just keep explaining as you.
Okay. So Damien is explaining that using the different axes of the manipulator, with one axis you will control the motor, and with the other axis you will control the cylinders. And then you will see that if you use diagonal axes, you can control both of them at the same time. So then we can see that it's also you are also able to control it manually. Here, Damien is presenting the load simulating block, which is made with a pressure relay valve. And here you see that there is no load, so the pressure when you manipulate the cylinder is constant. And here Damien is putting some load, and you see on the pressure gauge 1 that the pressure is increasing there. And so you can show to your students that when you have more load, you will need more pressure to actuate it. There, Damien is presenting the curve analysis function. So you can superpose some different curves. In red, you have the curves of the flow, and you can highlight other curves with the function next curve, and then you highlight another curve. This is the curve of the pressure gauge 1. It's the one that we use to see the pressure going increasing when we put some load on the antagonist cylinder. All these curves and this data can be exported to a USB key, and then you can work on it with your computer. You can analyze the behavior of the bench, but you can also use this data for an evaluation to allow your students to make a report on their manipulation of the bench. So that's it. Now let's continue. I talk about the different evolution of the bench. One of the evolution or the SHCO IO-link for the Hydraulic 4.0. Basically, we implement connected sensor on the bench, and through a smart observer, we will see all the evolution of the different values of this sensor, and we can see more precise information on each sensor. For example, on this particle counter, you can analyze the size of your particles. Then from these values, you can set limit values, switching alarms, and sending you SMS or email. And in addition, you can analyze, study the behavior of the equipment with the data acquisition. Now let's talk about our BHI4, which is designed and which allow you to design and update your bench. This is a customized bench, and it is provided in a simple and double side, which allow multiple groups on the same equipment, and to dissociate different technologies, and on-off side, for example, and a proportional side or a mobile hydraulic side. Education and industry evolve, and so training equipment must follow. So this bench is adaptive, and we provide 60 modules on catalog. You can upgrade the bench according to the evolution of your programs, and you can also make it adaptive for several levels. We also know that specific operations require specific equipment, and for it we design modules according to your specification. So the BHI4 approaches different kind of hydraulic following the evolution of your needs. The BHT3 is a hydrostatic transmission bench and make this the study of an hydrostatic transmission easy. It starts from the fact that to understand closed circuit, you have to study hydrostatic transmission. The problem is that on mobile machinery, hydraulic systems are difficult to access and to identify. And with the BHT3, it is easier to identify the different parts of the circuit and practice operation on it. Also on mobile machinery, there are high pressure and it is risky. The BHT3 bench pressure is set to 150 bars instead of 40 bars found on machines. And as for the SHCO, the hoses are fitted with anti-jet socks and anti-wire splash safeties, carabiners. And to go further, the operational part SHGH is proposed with the bench. It's allowed to extend your knowledge of hydrostatic steering, to understand and analyze external constraints easily, and integrate an open loop proportional distribution. We provide several operative parts, represent real industrial and mobile system, and allows students to simulate real life situation and materialize hydraulic function. It's also perfect to visualize external forces and hydraulic kinematics. The Aero bench, which is really interesting and unique in his conception. It starts from that we noticed that the aeronautic industry got its specificities concerning maintenance. So we developed in partnership with Aero Campus Bordeaux, which is an excellence center in aeronautical maintenance, but in aeronautic in general. And so we designed it with a professor who graduated from National Education and the former mechanical engineer sailing in the Air Force. And we produced, and this teacher produced all the teaching material, and it includes maintenance procedures, encounters in professional environment. Basically, he took the same specificities of maintenance procedures that he found on his former job, and he applied it to this bench. This bench is also multi-technology, and this equipment prevent learners from being exposed to highly toxic and high pressure hydraulic fluid that you can find on the aircraft while ensuring their safety and the one of the teacher. Moreover, the aeronautical components that you found on aircraft are usually expensive, and because learners use them, these components are subject to failures and damage. And so here we use industrial components to allow you to managing your cost. We also design a naval bench, hydraulic naval bench, for the operating principle of steering gear. It is composed of a control and electrical module, a control desk with a power section for supplying the hydraulic generation, a command and control section. Of course, the hydraulic generation and mechanical module, an operative part reproducing a rudder with opposing jacks representing the force exerted by water on the rudder. To professionalize learners with bench, this bench is designed with requirements of Marine Army instructor, and all components are used all over the world in naval industry. The operative parts allow a representation of a real rudder and apply wave forces via opposing cylinders. This bench is also multi-technology, and you can approach electric, mechanic, hydraulic, and automation with it. And finally, it is adaptive to different level required by Marine Army, from the high school, from the secondary to the master degree. We also complete our didactic range with different kits. The most of them is a troubleshooting kit, which allow to create non-damageable failures on the system. And so you can create a scenario, and with the data logger, your students will analyze the circuit, find where is the trouble, and proceed to the diagnostic, and exchange the failed components with with the one which is correctly operating. This data logger is portable and extremely robust and easy to use. Measuring device for measurement tasks in mobile hydraulic and stationary hydraulic system. So with it, the student can simply plug in pressure, temperature, flow, and speed sensor and start the measurements. The measures are shown directly on the screen and can be saved on your computers. And finally, oil quality is vital for hydraulic system. Between 70 and 80% of the failure on the hydraulic system come from the oil, is the dirt in the oil. And so for future maintenance professional need to be aware of it and be trained to analyze, to sample it, and to analyze